Assalamu alaikum. I'm your teacher Masood Ahmed Khan for the course Health, Safety and Environment NE428. This is lecture number 1, Introduction to Safety, Health and Environment. This is my email ID masoodakhan@neduet.edu.pk. Here are some course rationals. Number 1 is environmental science and protection technicians conduct laboratory and field tests to monitor the environment and investigate sources of pollution, including those affecting public health. This fieldwork has an impact on physical and physiological health. In this course, students will explore the health and safety issues of various types of environmental monitoring work. Student will gain an understanding of the current state of occupational safety and health, accidents that can occur in the workplace, classification of hazards, personal protective gear and their application, enforcement of laws regulating occupational safety, and role of workers, unions and employers. Here are some course objectives. Upon successful completion of this course, students should be able to describe occupation, health role in workplace. The student will understand the history of occupational health and the common accidents caused by human error. Students should be recognized and describe various types of hazards including toxic, fire, pressure, noise, temperature, engineering, process sampling and administrative. Student should be identify and demonstrate the applications of personal protective equipment and respiratory equipment. Understand the role of Occupational Safety and Health Administration, Department of Transportation and Environmental Protection Agencies, enforcement of laws and regulations. Here are some reference books. Industrial Safety and Health Management, Occupational Health and Safety Management, a Practical Approach. The sessional marks distribution for the course is here. We will conduct 2 quizzes, each of 5 marks. So total marks are 10. Assignment is based on a case study in this course, comprises of 10 marks. We will conduct a midterm exam of 20 marks and a final exam is of 60 marks. So the total 100 marks. For the case study review, you have to research and select a case study concerning job site accident. You have to prepare an assignment based on your research, and on the PowerPoint you have to prepare your assignment. Following are the guidelines for case study review format. You have to, in the first step, you have to select a topic for research. Then you have to provide a brief synopsis of the case describing the problem, time frames and affected stakeholders. You have to identify the major hazards, assess the level of risk, determine controls to reduce the level of risk with respect to engineering and with respect to administrative. What lesson learned with the help of this case study, you have to include all these things, and you have to give references and resources of the data you have taken from different books and websites, etc. Now, employees' role in safety, health and environment. You have to study employees' role in safety, health and environment. Various employees' roles in safety, health and environment are there. Upon completion of this chapter, the student should be able to describe how the process employee's role has changed in the last 30 years. We have to discuss the importance of employee safety to the process industries. We have to list down the roles of today's process employees in safety, health, and the environment. We have to explain what has caused the role of process employees to change from what they were 30 years ago. The objective of this chapter is to explain why all risk cannot be removed from process industry jobs. Yes, we want to make it zero, but we will explain in this chapter that why all risk cannot be removed from process industry jobs. Here is the slide for the process employees role. Processing industry is a broad term meaning taking raw material and converting all the raw material into valuable products for the sale in the markets. Process employees who work for the processing area site are its operator, instrumentation and analyzer technicians, and maintenance personnel. All are responsible during the normal course of their duties to remain in compliance with company, federal, state, and local state health and environmental regulations. Now we have to see what is safety and health. Safety and health, although closely related, are not same thing. There is a difference between these two. Safety is often thought of as being concerned with injury causing situations or with hazards to humans that result from sudden severe conditions, while health is often thought of as a being concerned with disease causing conditions or prolonged exposure to dangerous but less intense hazards. This is the main difference between safety and health. However, the line between safety and health is not always clearly drawn. For example, stress. Stress can cause health problems through adversely affecting a worker's physiology or psychology. An overstressed worker might be more prone to accidents and forgetful safety precautions. The point being made is there is a difference between the concepts of safety and health, though certain conditions may blur the differences. In this slide, we will consider that what are the perspective of safety and health with respect to company. Safety and health companies' perspective are there. Number one, concern for the safety of personnel and equipment is vital to employees and management alike as each has a personal stake. The company management is concerned about safety on the basis of with respect to an ethical behavior. It's affect the bottom line, that is profits. Most companies have safety programs that deal with day-to-day precautions. There are also mandates from federal, state, and local regulatory agencies that require periodic training and testing on specific safety and environmental regulations, which are known as fines. Employees are concerned because after long years of service, they would like to retire healthy and enjoy retirement with all their limbs and body parts working. Who are the process employees? In fact, process employees are responsible for the safety, health, and environmental. This is a question mark. The process instrument and analyzer technicians are all exposed to the health and physical hazards of the job. They all must use the permit system and consult material safety data sheets because of the chemicals. All working as a team help achieve safety goals and environment compliance. There are several risks on workplace, which are workplace risks. Risk is everywhere. A person workplace can be safe or dangerous. It depends. It depending upon how it is operated and maintained and its culture of safety. But risk is everywhere. Employees must be taught the safety rule and the consequences for failing to observe them. There are some risks. You see the diagram. Risk is everywhere. There are four diagrams: collision of cars, heart attack, an accident, combatants, etc. Safety is an attitude. Sorry. There is no such thing as a risk-free environment. Industry changes. A much more diverse workforce force, extensive computerized controls and automation. Worker must understand and comply with safety and environmental regulations. Workers are integrated into teams and must have interpersonal skills. But now industries are changes. They are moving towards different computerized controls and automations. Workers must support and contribute to process quality and quality improvement process. Workers are involved with process hazards analysis. These are the key concepts of this chapter. The purpose of this chapter is to discuss the role of the process employees in terms of their compliance with federal, state and local safety, health and environmental regulations. Concern for the safety of personnel and equipment is vital to employees and management alike. Each has personal stake in safety. The company management is concerned about safety because it is number one ethical responsibility and number two it affects the bottom line, which is in fact profit. Employees are concerned because after year of service they would like to retire healthy and vigorous enough to enjoy their retirement. Most companies have conditions and they may continue safety programs which deal with day-to-day precautions that must be taken while performing work. They also have mandate from certain federal, state and local regulatory agencies that require periodic training and testing on specific topics. Process safety decisions are often risk because they concern issues that are not often amenable to simple rules or converted by existing codes or regulations. A risk-based decision inherently includes economics as one consideration. The processing industry must learn to manage risk. Historically, safety had been regarded as a low-tech job, but in today's business environment, safety must be managed just like any other business function. Managers recognize that a safe worker is productive worker. Better safety records translate into real dollar savings in terms of lower insurance premiums and lower workman compensation costs, etc. Here we will study some history of safety and health movement. Upon completion of this chapter, the student should be able to list three reasons for improvement in industrial safety, list four important events in the history of the safety movement after 1900, discuss how settlement houses played a part in occupational safety. We will discuss organized labor's part in the safety movement, list five occupational disease and their causes, list the three E's of safety and explain the function of each, identify three important safety organizations and explain their role in safety. Safety improvements. Here are some safety improvements. Safety improvements up to now have been the result of pressure for legislation to promote safety and health, cost associated with accidents and injuries, recognition that safety and health concerns rank in importance with production and quality. Improvement in safety and health in the future are likely to come as a result of greater awareness of the cost effectiveness of safe workplace and competitive advantage gained from a safe and healthy workforce. Anti-labor laws, what are they? The fellow servant rule held that employers were not liable for workplace injuries that result from the negligence of other employees. For example, if worker A tripped over a board and broke a leg and worker B neglected to remove the board, the employer was not liable. The doctrine of the contributory negligence stated that if the actions of employees contributed to their own injuries, the employer was not held liable. The concept of assumptions of risk held that people who accept a job assume the risk that they go with it. Employees were not concerned into taking a job. Anti-labor laws, employer perspective again. These were all employer biased laws. Since the overwhelming majority of industrial accidents involve negligence on the part of one or more workers, employers rarely worried about liability. Since they could not be held liable, employers had little incentive to promote a safe work environment. Organized labor brought to the attention of the general public the deplorable working conditions employers allowed to exist. Public awareness and outrage eventually lead to the employer bias laws being overturned. Now we study history of occupational health, occupational disease and change. The term occupational disease refers to those illnesses caused by exposure at the workplace. They should be separated conceptually from injuries that may also occur at workplaces due to a variety of hazards. Following are the examples which are the different occupational disease. Different accidental prevention programs organizations conduct, and these programs and techniques are different. For example, they conduct different trainings, they explore some administrative controls, they explore engineering controls, isolation, different safety programs they conduct for the employees, personal protective equipment they provide to the employees, fail-safe design and permit systems in medical surveillance. So these are the different programs and techniques organizations use to avoid or use to reduce the accidents. So these are the accident prevention programs which organizations conduct. Early safety programs were based on the 3 E's, and these 3 E's, one E stands for engineering, second E stands for education, and third E stands for enforcement. What is meant by engineering, education, and enforcement? That is 3 E's for safety. Number 1, engineering. Engineering controls such as safety interlocks, alarms and area monitors. In all these safety measures, engineering is involved. With respect to education, mandatory annual training safety meetings will be conducted by the organization, and employees should have to attend these meetings. Training on new equipment and processes. The third E stands for enforcement. Enforcement means discipline. They have to maintain discipline. Employees have to maintain disciplines. And if they do not maintain discipline, some penalties will be imposed on those employees, and ultimately they may terminate from their job. Enforcement may be by federal, state or management. So these are the 3 E's for safety. Again, some a few more examples and postulates points for the 3 E's. The engineering aspects of a safety program involve making design improvements. Design improvements to both products and processes, because if we need good products, design improvement must be imposed on products and processes so that we get good products for the market. Employers begin to realize that processes used to manufacture products could be engineered to decrease potential hazards associated with the processes. Engineering controls remove the hazards or greatly reduce it so that serious harm cannot occur. This is the first hierarchy of control. The education. The education aspects of a safety program ensure that employees know how to work safely, why it is important to do so, and that safety is a requirement of continued employment. Third one, the enforcement. The enforcement aspect of a safety program involves making sure that employees abide by safety policies, rules, regulations, practices, and procedures. Supervisors and fellow employees play a key role in the enforcement aspects of safety programs. If a rule is not enforced, it is not. Following are the key concepts of all this which we have studied. You can read it. Now the topic is some introduction to OSHA, OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Why is OSHA important? 4,405 workers were killed on the job in year 2013. An average of nearly 12 workers die every day. Nearly 3 million serious workplace injuries and illnesses were reported by private industry employers in year 2012. So OSHA is very important, and they provide some procedures and different precautions and different guidelines for the employees. Now, history of OSHA. OSHA stands for Occupational Safety and Health Administration, an agency of the US Department of Labor. OSHA's responsibility is to improve workers' safety and health protection. They provide some guidelines. On December 29, 1970, President Nixon signed the OSHA Act. This act created OSHA, the agency, which formally came into being on April 28, 1971. What is OSHA's mission? The mission of OSHA is to assure safe and healthful working conditions for working men and women by setting and enforcing standards and by providing training, outreach, education, and assistance. Some of the things USHA does to carry out its mission are developing job safety and health standards and enforcing them through worksite inspections, providing training programs to increase knowledge about occupational safety and health. Employees' rights under USHA: a safe and healthful workplace, know about hazardous chemicals, report injury to employer, complain or request hazard correction from employer, training, hazard exposure and medical records, file a complaint with USHA, participate in an USHA inspection, be free from retaliation for exercising safety and health rights. USHA was created to provide workers the right to a safe and healthful workplace. It is duty of the employers to provide workplaces that are free of known danger that could harm their employees. This law also gives workers important rights to participate in activities to ensure their protection from job hazards. Following are the four groups of standards. General industry, it includes general industry, construction, maritime, agriculture. General industry is the set that applies to the largest number of workers and work sites. Rules that describe the methods employers must use to protect the employees from hazards. Designed to protect workers from a wide range of hazards, where there are no specific standards employers must comply with the general duty clause of the USHA Act. Following are the standards: limit the amount of hazardous chemicals, substances or noise that workers can be exposed. Organization should limit the amount of hazardous chemicals, substances or noise that worker can be exposed. Require the use of certain safe work practice and equipment. Require employers to monitor certain hazards and keep records of workplace injuries and illnesses. Now the third topic is accidents and human error. Upon completion of this topic, the student should be able to list the benefits of accidents investigations. They may list the 5 leading causes of accidental death in the United States. List the elements that make up the overall cost of an accident. List the 5 leading causes of work deaths. List 4 types of fatigue producing designs. Explain 4 ways to minimize procedural errors. Explain the two-person concept. The student will be able to describe 3 ways that worker can be involved in safety. Facts versus myths. The 2 prime benefits of accident investigations are: number 1, awareness, and number 2, factual knowledge. What is awareness? Individuals should be made aware of the most frequent types of accidents and the causes of these accidents. While factual knowledge is what? Misconceptions about safety and accidents exist because all the facts may not be known or presented. Unfortunately, misconceptions and myths continue to persist in spite of refutable data and efforts. Here is a list of safety myths. Safety myths or not. There is a list of all these myths. You can read it. Whenever an employee works in an industry, he has to start safe. When used in the workplace, the key to starting every job with safety is making a commitment to think before you act to start safe. Before you begin any job, you should understand your job, think about safety, plan your actions, and you should have to stay safe. Here is what you will need to do so that you do others can stay safe. Use your knowledge, practice safety, share safety. These all are the points for stay safe. Use your knowledge, practice safety, share safety. Common attitude leading to injury. Attitudes and values determine the meaning we find in what we observe. Common misleading attitudes are it won't happen to me, my numbers up, law of averages, Beco concept. It won't happen to me. It is assumed that accidents always happen to other people but won't happen to you. My numbers up. This concept assumes that when your number is up, you will get hurt and there is nothing you can do about it. Accidents are determined purely by fate. Law of average. Accidents and injuries are due to inevitable statistical laws. Sooner or later, everyone gets hurt. Make a concept living dangerously is mainly and safety measure are for wins. Injuries to body parts. The most frequent injuries to specific parts of the body are listed below in order to most frequent injury to least frequent. Back, leg and fingers, arms and multiple parts of the body, trunk, hands, eyes, head and feet, neck, toes and body systems. So total cost of work injuries. What is the total cost of work injuries? Number one, medical cost. Number two, insurance premiums. Number three, property damage, indirect costs, lost production, lost work hours, fire losses. All these are the different factors which include in the total cost of injuries, which are called cost associated with workplace injuries. Factors leading to an accident. Here is a worker at the center of the figure. You see that energy may impose some accident on the worker with respect to heat, pressure, mechanical, electrical, hydraulic. Equipment and materials. Flammable, corrosive, toxic, reactive, volatile machine. Worker fatigue and different other potential of foreign accidents. So factors, these are the factors leading to an accident. Factors leading to an accident, human factors are also there. Most industrial accidents that happen around the world are caused by human error. Human error is as much an investment of company, organization and management as of the employees involved. But what is the human error? Some contributing factors are skill level, technical fatigue, failure to follow procedures, inadequate procedures, lack of clear communication protocols, poorly designed equipment, improper understanding of ergonomic issues by management. Human error. What is human error? An action that is inconsistent with established behavioral patterns, speeding ticket, public intoxication, etc. considered normal or that differ from prescribed procedures. Errors can be divided into two categories: predictable, random. Predictable errors are what? Predictable errors which experience has shown will occur again if the same condition exists. Predictable errors can be foreseen because their occurrences has taken place more than once. What is random error? Random error means interaction of two or more factors and often cannot be predicted. Random errors are unpredictable and cannot be attributed to a specific cause. For example, a highly competent operator may be annoyed by a fly. So these all are the examples of factors leading to an accident, human error, and the difference between random error and predictable errors. Factors leading to an accident, omission versus commission. So we will discuss it in the next class, inshallah.